Okay, so I didn't do a June wrap-up because I read a total of one book in June, I think. I don't even really remember how this went. Two books? Two books? One and a half books? Anyway, that's why I didn't do a June wrap-up. But then I read a decent amount in July, so let's talk about the books I read, shall we? Okay, the first book that I read in June was actually half. I finished a book. I started reading Voyage of the Dawn Treader in May, and I finished it in June. And anyway, I read it out of this big, ugly bind-up. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I liked it better than Prince Caspian, but still not nearly as much as The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I feel like none of them are going to come close, but it was still very fun and very sweet, and the first chunk of it was hilarious. Eustace's character was so funny, but then he became normal pretty quickly and wasn't as funny anymore, which was sad. But it was a really cute story, and I enjoyed it. I don't remember enough about it at this point to really say what it was about. They basically just kind of go on an adventure. They end up going through their aunt and uncle's painting in a bedroom, and it takes them to the Dawn Treader, which is a boat that Prince Caspian and his crew are on. And they're looking for, like, the end of the world or something like that. And it's just about them going on adventures, trying to find it. And there were some descriptions that I really enjoyed in it, especially when they were on the boat and looking into the water and stuff. There were a few descriptions there that I really liked. But it's just about them meeting different creatures and different things happening, really. But it was good. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland out of this gorgeous bind-up, and I absolutely loved it. Super, super silly, adorable, hilarious. I adored it. It was so good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was not what I was expecting at all. It was ridiculous. It's just about a girl named Alice who falls down a hole into this magical land, and all the different people and creatures that she meets along the way, and it was just super, super silly, and it brought me so much joy reading it. So I'm gonna read Through the Looking Glass at some point. I don't know when, but I'm sure I'll enjoy it whenever I do get around to it. Also, can we just talk about how gorgeous this is? Then I spent almost the entirety of June and most of July reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which was an arc I won on Goodreads. I gave this 5 stars, but it took me forever to read because of how deeply sad it is. But The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is a story about a young woman named Addie who lives in the 1700s, and she's been arranged to marry this guy that she doesn't want to marry, and she basically is just really not happy with her life and what she knows her life will become. And she is so desperate to get out of her life, and she makes a deal with a demon. She knows that this is not a thing that she should be doing, but in her desperation, she's not thinking, and she makes a deal. And she doesn't even really know what the deal is when she's making it. She just says that she wants to be free, and he says, okay. She'll be free for as long as until she doesn't want her soul anymore, and then he can have it. So basically she lives forever, and nobody remembers her. Ever. Never, not once, no one remembers who she is. And so basically she goes back to her families, and they don't remember her. They're like, we don't have a daughter. And it follows her. Mostly it goes back and forth between her journey, like kind of starting with this situation in the 1700s, and where she is now in the year 2014, and kind of how she's dealt with it and the people that she's met and stuff like that, even though they don't remember her. Like, she'll meet them, they can have a conversation, but as soon as she leaves their sight, like if she has to go to the washroom or something, they turn around, they'll turn back around and be like, who are you? Why are you in my house? And then she meets this guy who remembers her, and there's like this big story around this guy who remembers her and why does he remember her and all that kind of stuff. It is very, very deeply sad because it is a big chunker of a book all about someone who is eternally alone. I don't think it was a book I should have been reading at this time in my life. It was very heavy for me. And I feel like if I read it at a different point in my life, it wouldn't have felt so heavy. But it was very, very good. I loved the writing. I loved the characters. I loved the pacing. It's a very, very quiet story. And there isn't even, like, much of a plot. Like, there's not, like, one specific, like, exciting thing that they're trying to get towards. It's basically just following her, and her journey and stuff. But it was really, really well done. I adored it. It just took me a very long time to read because of how deeply, deeply sad it was and how deeply sad it made me. But I tabbed a few things that I really liked, and I'm definitely going to buy a finished copy when it comes out. I'm very excited. It comes out in October. What did I read next? Then I read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl, which, if you didn't know, is about a boy named Charlie who's very, very poor, but he loves chocolate, and he loves this big chocolate factory that makes all the chocolate, Willy Wonka's chocolate, and he ends up winning a trip to go to the chocolate factory, and it is about him and the other kids who win a tour of the chocolate factory, and it's just ridiculous, that all the stuff that happens. And I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't like it nearly as much as Matilda or the BFG, and I think I did like the movie better, like the new movie, the one with Johnny Depp, which apparently I'm like the only person who liked that version, which I don't understand. I think it's great. And I liked the original. Like, I watched it growing up, but I never, like, loved it, I guess. And when the new one came out, I was like, this one is so much better. But apparently I'm the only one who thinks that. But anyway, the movie with Johnny Depp was very, very close to the book. They did a very good job of adapting this into a movie and, like, staying true to the book, which was good. It wasn't quite as silly as I was expecting it to be for some reason. But it was still really good. And then I read The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill, which is just like a kid's family graphic novel. And I read it really quickly. And it is just about a girl who ends up finding out about these little tea dragons, which are just different dragons that have tea leaves that grow out of their head. And she learns how to care for them, and she learns about different people's pasts and about accepting people while she's doing it and her family and stuff like that. It's like a nice little lesson, I guess. And it was a very sweet little story. I think it could have been longer. Like, I felt like there wasn't, like, it seemed a little rushed. Like, the parts that it focused on it was all very, like, a summary, it felt like to me. But it was very sweet. The drawings were very pretty, and it was very cute. And it has, like, this little textbook, like, stuff at the back where it talks about the different types of tea dragons and what kind of tea they make, and, like, what kind of food they like and what their temperament is and stuff like that. And I really liked that section as well, so I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read The Magic Finger by Roald Dahl, which took me like 12 minutes to read. It's really, really short, and it's just about a girl who has a magic finger, and when she gets angry, she can, like, basically make something bad happen to people, and she turns a family of hunters into ducks. It was cute. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And then I read The Stranger by Harlan Coben, which I did not enjoy at all. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, and I feel sad about it because I loved Harlan Coben growing up. Well, not growing up, but, like, when I was in high school and college, I loved Harlan Coben. I devoured his books, so I'm really, really hoping that just some of his books I don't like as much, and that I'll like the next book of his that I read. But this is about this guy named Adam who gets approached by a stranger, and the stranger tells him that his wife faked her pregnancy and miscarriage 2 years ago. And so he's looking into it and confronting her about it. And I mean, I want to say stuff kind of, like, spirals from there, but not really. Like, I felt like it was very repetitive and uninteresting and blah. And just, like, even, like, there were a lot of mundane details that he focused on that I didn't care about, and I wasn't a fan of the dialogue, and I just didn't like it. I didn't think it was interesting. I didn't care about the characters or what was going to happen. I wasn't even, like, intrigued by anything, and the twist I thought was just so dumb, and the ending was dumb. It was just, I didn't like it at all. And I read this so that I can watch the show, and I don't even want to watch the show now. because the story is stupid. I don't know. Someone convinced me to watch the show. If you've read the book and seen the show, tell me if the show is better or different. So, those are the books that I read in July and June. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon with another video. Bye. Have a good day.